for this war were false, and they didn't listen. But now the world knows that we were right. So hang in there. Know that speaking the truth to power, in the end, in history, will say you were right. So don't be discouraged. Don't turn cynical. Whenever our presidential candidates come to town, speak the truth to power to these people. Don't lose your voice. As I say, many have come before us, including, can I say it, Jesus himself. Success was the thing that he was working for. Let's just say that he was a grand failure. Huh? But we're standing in front of a church today. Not in front of some monument to the Roman Empire. So let's have faith.
Right. Yeah.
Who was told by his bishop and his priest when he went to them for counsel, this is World War II, your patriotic duty is to serve the fatherland in the military. He recognized at that time, the simple man, the total immorality of this whole thing, and he refused. And the price he paid, he was the father of 3 children, the price he paid was prison and beheading. And now when the whole country basically was against him, the church advised him to go to war. They're recognizing him as a blessed person.
Oh, yeah.
All right. His name is Franz Jagerstatter.
Franz Jagerstatter, correct.
Red sun's gonna shine on this country of mine. Love's gonna live here. Yeah, things are gonna be the way they were before. Love's gonna live here again. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live.
Dubuque Peace and Justice. We started the Monday after September 11th, 2001. So I think that was on a Thursday, and we started a couple days later. We actually decided to start it that night as we began to hear word of retribution on the news. We were concerned about all that. And so, among other things, we've done a weekly vigil at Washington Park, and for about 3 months leading up to the beginning of the Iraq War, it was a daily vigil. We're still doing that every Monday from 4 to 5. You're welcome to join us. Hope you do sometime. But we've had speakers, we've had rallies, and just basically trying to keep that spark of hope alive. So today, all around the country, is the national mobilization to end the war in Iraq. And similar, maybe larger events are happening in 11 major cities around the United States. And smaller events, much like ours probably, are happening all over the country and all over the world. In Kapa'a, Hawaii, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Santa Barbara, California, Smithfield, North Carolina, Fairbanks, Alaska, Des Moines, Cedar Falls, and Dubuque, Iowa, among many, probably hundreds of other places where this is happening. So we're glad to be part of something so big. We know that eventually things will change, won't they? Okay, cost of the war. I can't go into a lot of detail and a lot of stuff because we have so many great people that want to speak to us this morning. The cost of the war, you see these banners around. Those are provided by the American Friends Service Committee, and that's the same group that brought us Eyes Wide Open. At the big collection of Army boots on display in Washington Park representing military personnel deployed in Iraq. And in this case, we're talking about the cost of the war. One of the banners, they have 2 sides, you got to read both sides, but one of the banners says that one day of the Iraq War costs $720 million. One day. Okay, and if this seems high, it is, but it's not inaccurate. It includes the $280 million per day that your legislators agreed to let President Bush spend on the war, but it also includes the $440 million per day. That's the costs that we have already incurred but haven't yet paid for. That includes the interest on the war debt, the cost of caring for the wounded, the costs of replenishing all the military equipment that we are sending over and leaving in Iraq, and the cost of rebuilding that country as well. That's another $440 million, totaling $720 million. Now, what could you do with $720 million? Somebody asked me that, and I was just staggered. It would take me a lifetime to figure out how to properly spend that kind of money, and that's just one day of a war that's going on its 5th year. The $720 million that's being spent today, October 27th, 2007, could have been spent on the things that you see on these banners. We could have instead built somewhere in the United States 84 new elementary schools. You know how long it took to make the decision to build the beautiful new school that we've just built here downtown? That's one of those schools. We could have built 84 with the money from that war for one day. Or we could have paid for 12,478 new elementary school teachers. I'm going to just round the numbers here. 95,000 slots for kids in Head Start. Or we could have spent the money on 1.1 million children with free school lunches for a year. Or, if anybody here of college age, we could have gotten 35,000 four-year university scholarships. 35,000 four-year university scholarships with the cost of one day of this war. 163,000 people could have gotten health care, or 423,000 children could have gotten health care with that same money. We could have built 6,500 homes for families. And we could have fitted out 1.2 million homes with renewable electricity, which would eventually contribute to the answer that we're all looking for and how to get less dependent on oil and not have to go to war to get it. Okay, enough said. Locally, right here in Dubuque, one day of the Iraq War spending would fund, for example, an organization I'm close to, Maria House and Teresa Shelter. You may have read this in the TH. It would have funded them for the next 1,500 years. Okay? So you wouldn't have to see another Maria House or Teresa Shelter fundraiser for 1,500 years. It would have funded all the programs run by Operation New View, including Head Start, low-income heating assistance, a whole bunch of programs like that for the next 144 years. It would have funded our new Crescent Community Health Center down at, I think, 18th and Elm for the next 1,000 years. And as one of the people that wrote the grant to get that place, you know, that would have been a whole lot easier. Okay, so that's, you know, that just puts it in perspective locally. It's not to say the money would have been spent on that, but the thing to remember is that it is our duty as citizens, as patriots, to tell the government what our priorities are for the federal budget and for the direction of our country. We can redirect this money. We can redirect that $720 million that's being spent today. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to keep moving the program along here. We have a wonderful, wonderful speaker, a local lady named Catherine Struck, who is a member of an organization called Military Families Speak Out. That's an organization of people opposed to the war in Iraq who have relatives or loved ones currently in the military who have served in the military since the buildup to the Iraq War in the fall of 2002. There are currently about 3,700 military families who are members of this organization.